Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Fawaz, and today we're going to learn about accounts receivables and how you can improve your collection process, secure it, and most importantly, have your accounts receivable be connected with your ERP system, with your Microsoft Dynamics platforms. My name is Fawaz Hussain. I'm with Nodus Technology. I've been part of the Microsoft channel for over 16 years now, and I lead our partnership management teams over here at Nodus. Nodus is a division of a company called Global Payments. Global Payments is, if not the largest, one of the largest payment processor globally, and we specialize in many all things payment related, incoming payments, outgoing payments. But for this particular conversation, for today's session, we will be talking about accounts receivables. Notice a fun fact on Nodus. Nodus as a company was acquired by Global Payments, but Nodus itself was established over 21 years ago. It was one of the first, it was the first payment application ever built for Microsoft. At that time, it was Great Plains. But over the years, we expanded our footprint, and now we cover all Microsoft Dynamics platforms, the legacy platforms, as well as all the Dynamics 365 platforms. So for today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about accounts receivables. We're going to identify some of the pain points associated with accounts receivables. We will look into what a typical process looks like and what a good process should look like. And then at the end, we will do a quick demonstration on how we can help you streamline your accounts receivable process. So let's get started. Accounts receivable automation. Accounts receivable is there's a saying that accounts receivable is a heartline of a business. It's something very, very close. This is an area where many business owners keep a very close eye on. Accounts receivable is basically responsible for collecting all incoming payments, all your incoming revenue. And the goal of accounts receivables department is usually to ensure that, most importantly, everything is collected in a timely manner, but at the same time, you are collecting with accuracy and efficiency. And we will talk about how, what are some of the challenges that are associated when a department and when a company, an organization is trying to achieve accuracy and efficiency with their accounts receivable processes. So what I've done here is I've listed some of the most common challenges that businesses face. Again, you as a viewer might be able to relate to some of this, and some of these might be new to you, and you might have some challenges that I didn't list it out here. But here are some of the basic challenges. Number one is manual labor. All the time that it takes to collect payments from your customers, manually processing them. If it's a check, you might have to take it to a bank, or might have to use a lockbox. If it's a credit card payment, you might have to go to a terminal, whether it's a desktop terminal or a virtual terminal, to process the payment. All the time that it takes for you to reach your customers, collect payments from them, resend them reminders, all that manual labor is the biggest chunk of the inefficiencies comes from this area over here. Because of manual labor, the second area that businesses face is delayed cash flow. If you're collecting everything manually, then that takes a lot of time, and that time can essentially slow down your payment collection. There is a KPI that many accounting departments, accounting organizations like to follow, and that is called DSO. DSO stands for Days Sales Outstanding. Basically, DSO is an indicator that shows how long has it been from the time the invoice was created to the time the payment is collected. So obviously, the lower the DSO, the better your AR health is. And that directly impacts your cash flow. And cash flow is everything for a business. Cash flow can affect your business performances in many other areas of your business. So if you do things manually, not only that's taking a lot of time, and time is money, could be very costly, but it also delays your payment collection. That then it comes into a next problem, which is disconnected payment systems. Lack of integration between your payment systems and your accounting system can cause a lot of problems. So this is what we call an integration gap. It happens when your payment system is disconnected with your accounting system. So this is also where the data silos or department silos happen. So think about this, right? Like imagine you paid your bill online. Now you call the company to receive your service, but the customer service rep tells you, hey, sorry, we have not received your payment, just because you processed the payment, but within that company, the payment was not updated in all their system. So as a customer, you were unable to receive service. Or even as a customer service rep, if I don't have visibility into my lifetime into payments that my business is collecting, I wouldn't know which customers have paid, which have not paid. So all of this can cause many problems. So disconnected payment systems can happen because of lack of integration, and this is where the department silos happens. Another big problem, probably the biggest problem associated with doing things manually, not having an integrated system or a manual process, is poor payment security. You're essentially exposing yourself and your company to a great deal of threat, and that is data security, data breach threat, right? Doing things manually, so think about this way, right? Let's say if you have some rep who's taking a credit card over the phone. Now that credit card number is exposed to not just your employee, but your phone networks. And how is that information being saved? So because you don't have an automated process, and your data, your payments are not connected from your payment system over to your accounting system, that's essentially where a lot of security gaps happen, and that's where many security related problems occur. And security is such a big subject that we conduct complete separate seminars on just talking about security. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause on security, and I'll come back to it in a second. So everything that I've talked about so far, these are the problems that you face as a business: manual labor, delayed cash flow, disconnected payment systems, and poor payment security. Now let's talk about on the other side. What is, because of your lack of enhanced collection process, now you're causing your customers great deal of inconvenience. Think about it. Would you do business with a company who says that, hey, the only way you can pay us is by calling us during our business hours? When we sign up for, let's say, a cell phone service or cable service, we expect things like automatic payments. We expect things like secure payment portals. Likewise, your customers have exact same expectations from you. In 2025, if you don't offer your customers an easy, convenient method and secure method for making their payments, the chances are your payments will be delayed, and your customers will be unhappy. Having secure and automated payment systems have a lot of benefits. There are numerous studies that have shown that just by implementing an AR automation tool, you can significantly improve your collection process and your health of your cash flow. There was a study that was done by payments.com that shows that businesses that don't have automated system, businesses that rely on manual processes, tend to have 30% longer or higher DSO than the companies that do use automated. And trust me, the 30% is based on this study. That's why we wrote it over here. But we have seen numerous studies that shows a lot higher number. So let's change gears for a second, and I'm going to talk about security. As I mentioned, security is such an important subject that it requires its own section to be talked about. Everything that I talked about, AR automation, disconnected systems, we will talk about all that, but security is something that I want to take a moment here to address. Um, First and foremost, many companies don't realize this, that as a merchant, as a business who take payments from your customers or from their customers, it is 100% your responsibility to ensure that your customers' data is protected. There is a security council who keeps an eye out there, and that is called PCI Security Council. PCI stands for Payment Card Industry, and PCI Security Council is basically a governing body that ensures protection on cardholder protection. Who is cardholder? Cardholders are people like you and I, any one of us who has credit card in their wallet. We are the cardholders. And PCI Security Council ensures that we are secured. And how do they do that? They do that by making sure that businesses that take credit card payments, they do it securely. Now, and you might have noticed, and keep talking about credit cards, the security is a lot more strict on credit card, but all of this is applicable for ACH as well. PCI Security Council focuses more on credit cards, but there's other councils like NACHA that is responsible for check security. So security is across all payments, but PCI specifically for creded cards. PCI was started by Visa and MasterCard to fight frauds. There was when the credit card business was emerging, many people were started getting credit cards. Businesses were taking, whether it was a coffee shop or whether it was an online. When Visa and MasterCard saw that there's so much data theft going on and so much data breach going on, people were stealing credit card data. That's essentially when they created this council called PCI Security Council. And it was started by Visa, MasterCard, but it's now it's every single card brand adheres by it. So this is how I explained it for those of you who were at my session at implementation specialist event last winter. I use this example over there. I have used this example in the past. One of the easiest way to understand what a secure PCI Security Council is think about them as Department of Motor Vehicles, right? When you drive your car, there are traffic laws like speed limits and turn signals and traffic lights, stop signs. The idea is very simple. You as a driver, as long as you are following these rules and regulations, like you're following the speed limit, you're following traffic signals, you are reducing the chances of getting into an accident. In fact, you're significantly reducing the chances of getting into an accident. PCI Security Council works the same way. The idea is that you, as a business owner, as long as you are following the rules and regulations that are set forth by the PCI Security Council, you are reducing chances of getting into an accident. And what is an accident for you? Data breach. So that's how PCI compliance work. They come up with a list of rules and regulations. And as long as you're PCI compliant, that means that your business is following those rules and regulations. You are in a safe situation. Now, PCI is applicable to all sides of business. This is another really big misconception. People think that PCI compliance is only for large enterprises or large retailers. It doesn't matter how you do business, whether you have a brick and mortar store, whether you have a mail or telephone order, even if you have e-commerce online payments. As long as you take credit card, even if you're a mom and pop coffee shop or if you're a large enterprise, it doesn't matter. PCI is applicable to you. And it's not like all one size fits all. If you as an organization, you work with PCI Security Council, they will assign a QSA to you, Qualified Security Assessor, who is going to assess your environment and will essentially tailor fit your requirements to be PCI compliant. So for the way it is for business A could be very different for business B. There are many benefits of being PCI compliant. One is that if you are PCI compliant, Visa and MasterCard and these interchanges, they reward you with a better rate because now you're helping them fight fraud. You are considered as less risky transaction, so they reward you with a better rate. And in return, that's savings for you. You save money on credit card processing fees. Secondly, in an event, if a breach happens, then you're in a safe harbor. Think of it like an insurance. You can say, hey, I did everything that I was supposed to do. So, here's my PCI compliance certificate. I'm good to go. So you're in a better position than obviously if you weren't PCI compliant, then you're in trouble. And how trouble? That's basically the reduced risk of costly breach comes in the last benefit. It could be massive, depending on the nature of the breach. It could be in millions of dollars, and it could be enough to setting a business to a path of bankruptcy. And even if not, if you're willing to pay the fine and get over it, the point is that the studies have shown that one of the largest area where business suffer is loss of customers. Again, think about it. Like if you were conducting business with a company and you heard in the news that this company was a victim of a data breach, you will think twice before doing business with them again. So loss of customers is probably one of the biggest area where we have seen customers or merchants suffer. So again, PCI compliance and security is a huge topic. We do separate sessions on that, but I decided to take a quick detour to talk about this because it's very important. Now I'm going to switch gears and come back to PCI to AR automation. So let's talk about AR automation and let's talk about accounts receivables. So what I have done here is I have created a very quick high-level overview to demonstrate what a typical collection process looks like, what a typical AR process looks like, and what it should look like. So this is how typically what it looks like. Step one, you're using Great Plains or Business Central, you're using an ERP system, you create an invoice, you post an invoice. Step two, you have to deliver that invoice to your customer, whether it's through an email or paper mail. Step three, you would have to send reminders to your customers, reminding them, hey, provided that you remember to remind them, you will continuously remind them that, hey, I have, you have outstanding balances, outstanding invoices. Then comes when your customer is finally ready to make a payment, you have to process the payment. I have completely skipped one really important part here, which is how do you collect payment? We'll talk about that later. So let's say you have the payment, you're gonna process that payment. If it's a check, if it's a physical check, you might have to take it to the bank, deposit it. If it's a electronic check, you might have to do some sort of lockbox. If it's a credit card, you might have to run through a virtual terminal or desktop terminal. Once that payment is processed, you have to send them a receipt and let them know that, hey, payment is processed. And then you have to go back to your accounting system, figure out which invoice does this payment belong to, and manually enter your books. And so update all your systems in the back end. So this way the payment is reflected on your account. This is what a typical process looks like. And everything that I have highlighted gray, that essentially should be automated by a accounts receivable process. A good AR automation process should automatically deliver invoices for you. It should automatically send accounts reminders to your customers. It should have capabilities of automated payments as well as self-service payments where customers can go online and make payments on their own. It should automatically send receipts to your customers upon payment, successful payment processes. And then most importantly, it should automatically update your accounting system. It should automatically update your ERP, your GP or Business Central. So this way you don't have to manually reconcile and do those updates. So this is where I would like to introduce PayFabric. PayFabric is our accounts receivable and automation tool, payment processing and AR automation tool. Initially, we developed PayFabric to fight fraud. It was purely designed to sit on a cloud, to store the credit card data up on the cloud. But then over the years, it turned into an AR powerhouse that not only allows you to securely process payments inside of your accounting system, whether you use GP or Business Central, your credit card data will never be stored in your ERP. It will all be stored in the PayFabric cloud, but you will still have an ability to process payments directly within your ERP environment, as well as you can have your customers set up to process payments on their own. It has many functionalities, but most important part is that it's directly integrated to your ERP system, your Dynamics 365, as well as your Great Plains instance. It is up for D365 users. It is available, is certified and available on the Microsoft App Source. So it is endorsed by Microsoft as well. You can go ahead and download it from there if you want to give it for a test run. One very quick overview on a payment processing now. Let's talk about what a payment processing looks like typically. Typically what happens is, let's say you have a customer who, I'm going to make an example, they use Chase Bank to get a Chase credit card. They come to you as a Dynamics 365 user. You will process the payment. You probably need some sort of a software to process that payment, whether you process through a virtual terminal or whether it's a desktop device. Then you have to use a payment gateway. That payment gateway gets connected to a processor. Processor works with card associations like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. That works with the card issuing bank. And that's how they will get a result to say if the payment goes through or not, and then you get a displayed message. This is how payments 101, this is how payment processing works. The problem with this system is that when you have so many layers, like each layer can add a complexity, and also each layer can have its own fees. And that's why your credit card processing could be so expensive. So this is one of the biggest benefits you get being partnered with us. Since we're global payments, we take all those middle layers out. We are the software, we are the processor, we are the gateway. So this way you're not paying 3-4 different third parties in between. So you save a lot of money on credit card processing fees. But more importantly, you have now one stop shop where if you ever run into a problem, you can just call one number and we will help you. Otherwise, typically what happens is you will have to call your software company or provider just to figure out, hey, what the problem is. They might point finger towards the processor. The processor might point finger to the gateway. They say, oh, unless you put all the parties on a conference call together, it will be very hard for you to troubleshoot the problem. But with us, we are all-inclusive shop, and that's one of the biggest value proposition that we bring to the business. Another really big benefit that you get, because we are an all-encompassing shop where we are the processor, we are the software, we are the gateway, we don't rely on any third parties. In fact, we are the only payments company in the entire Microsoft ecosystem that is a processor and a gateway itself. Because we are global payments. Before that, we were just like others. We were reselling other processors. But now, since we are global payments, we don't have to do that. With that, you also get additional really big benefit is that I mentioned that you save a lot of money on your processing fees because we take all the middlemen out. But also, you can get additional savings by us submitting level 2, level 3 data. Because we are inside of your accounting system, inside of Great Plains, inside of Business Central, we know exactly where to get the additional data to submit it to the Visa and MasterCard. So this way, Visa, MasterCard can consider this as a safe transaction, and they can reward you with the best possible rate on that payment. So what is level 2, level 3 data, right? So imagine this is an invoice over here. An invoice has basic level 1 data that is everyone has to send, which is your date. Sometimes it's like bill to, like zip code or bill to address, and the total. So this is basic data that everybody sends. But if you send additional data like level 2, level 3, that's when you really make Visa, MasterCard happy. What is level 2? Level 2 data could be your invoice number, your ship to address, your tax information. And level 3 could be your line item data. It could be unit of measurements. It could be discount, extended price. There could be hundreds of these fields. And because we are in the accounting system, we have everything mapped out. So we automatically send this data to the processor. So this way they reward us with these better rates. This is majority businesses in America do this because they want to get better rates on their fees, but some businesses are required to do this. Who are those businesses? So let's say if you are a business that does business with government, like B2G, right? Where you take government issued credit cards. United States government is making it mandatory where you can only use government issued credit cards with vendors that support level 2, level 3 data. Why is that? Because it makes it easy for them to reconcile, right? Because now the US government can see that, okay, where did you spend the money? Like, think about it. Like, let's say if you go to Macy's, right? You go to Macy's and you buy like 5 items. On your credit card statement today, it just says Macy's and total. But on a level 2, level 3 environment, on the government issued credit cards, they like to see details of all those 5 items that you bought from Macy's, because that's how they make sure that the money is spent in the right areas. So again, for some businesses it's mandatory, but for rest of you who don't do business government credit cards, this is just good for you to have. Okay, so now let's jump into a demo, the fun part. So what I decided to do here is I decided to show you from Business Central perspective. However, this works exactly the same way in Great Plains as well. If time permits, I can quickly show you Great Plains too. So with this, I'm going to move over to Business Central. So now you're looking at my Business Central environment. As I mentioned, there are 2 components to our solution. There's component 1 that sits inside of your ERP, Business Central or GP, and component 2 that sits outside, which is the customer-facing payment portal, right? So let's say, hypothetically speaking, if I have an invoice in Business Central, and I'm going to create a very quick invoice just to show you. So this is just one example in which I'm a Business Central user and I am creating an invoice. And once I've created the invoice, I want to process payment on that invoice. So once PayFabric is installed in your environment, you will see PayFabric and you will see all of its menu right here. I can run a sale transaction, I can run an authorization, or I can send a pay link. So what is pay link? Paylink is, let's say, I want to run a payment for this customer directly from Business Central. So I'm a Business Central user right now, right? I'm one of your employees. And I don't have a customer's credit card on file. I can essentially send them a link in a text message on their cell phone or a link in an email. So they can just click on that link and make a quick payment. The customer themselves can pay, and then the payment is processed and gets updated into Business Central. So this way you can enforce a policy that, hey, we don't take any credit card over the phone, and you can tell all your team members not to take credit card numbers over the phone. Or you can run a quick sale transaction if you already have that credit card. So let me just explain you from this side. So when I say sale transaction, I'm gonna have a payment method code. If it's a credit card payment, we can choose credit card, ACH. We do allow surcharge and alternative gateways too, which we can talk about later. But I'm going to use credit card as a method of payment. See, for this customer, I already have credit card on file. I have 2 credit cards on file. I can see which ones. There are 2 Visas ending with 1111. This is my expiration. That's my cardholder name. So as you can see that as a Business Central user, I cannot see the credit card number, yet I can use this credit card number to process payment. If it's a brand new customer and if you don't have a credit card on file, you can say new credit card and it will open up a window where you can type in a credit card number. I don't recommend doing that. It's up to you if you want to. I say just send them a pay link and just let them enter it, right? But even if you do decide to enter the credit card number yourself, you're very, very secure because the window that opens up is not part of Business Central, it's part of PayFabric Cloud. So Business Central does not touch credit card data. So for this example, I'll just use a credit card that's on file. I'm going to hit OK, and it will process the payment in real time, and it will tell me right away if the payment went through or not. In this case, the payment is approved, so I got my approval message. Another thing that we do is we also automate all payments, receipts, and delivery. So your customer has already received a payment confirmation. Let me see if I can pop this out over here so I can show you. So this is the payment, again, this is an example. This is a confirmation that came out. I processed $212.56 just now, and approval message. So this is as a customer receives, so you don't have to send manual reminders to your customers, or manual, sorry, confirmations. As simple as that, super simple. Now, let's, and see the payment is already updated. Now, let me show you one more example, and this time I can show you if you were to enter a credit card number, what that looks like. By the way, I keep saying credit card, but yes, this system does take checks as well. If you don't want to take credit cards, checks only, you can do that. If you want to take credit cards and checks, you can do that as well. So it's up to you. In fact, if you want to do a surcharge on credit card, like let's say if you give option to your customers that they can pay by credit card or check, but if they pay by credit card, they have to pay like 2% extra. You can do that as well, and we can legally set you up with surcharge. So that is also an option. So let's say if I were to take a credit card, by the way, if I do ACH, this is how ACH pops up, where I can, either use an ACH number that's on file or type in a new ACH number. So let me just show you one thing very quickly. If I do a new credit card, for example, so this is what I was talking about. This window that's being opened up right now is pulling up this window from our cloud. So this way, if you decide to type in the credit card number yourself, this credit card number is going straight to the PayFabric cloud, bypassing your environment. Further security, you can attach a point-to-point encryption terminal, like a little secured P2PE device to your keyboard. We can send that to you where you can just type in the credit card number on that keypad. So this way your keyboard does not get exposed to that credit card number. So trust me, we have done we work so closely with PCI Security Council, so we make sure that we deliver the most secure system possible. And speaking of security, I say if you're in a situation where you don't have a credit card, just go to Paylink instead and send them a text message or a I'm going to text myself, or a email. So this way, let the customer do this on their own. Take charge of the payment on their own. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to show you from customer's perspective. So this is a customer portal, fully integrated with Business Central and Great Plains. By the way, let me show you this real quick. When I sent that pay link just a minute ago, it sent an email to the customer, because I sent an email, but it was also a text message too. When a customer clicks on that link, it basically takes them to this page over here. and they don't have to log. In this case, they don't have to log in. They don't have to do anything. The customer just clicks on the link. They can pay by check or credit card. And if they pay by credit card, since I'm using the same customer, it does have a credit card on file, so this customer can see that, hey, I have a credit card on file, I can use that, or they can type in a new credit card. If they type in a new credit card, and if they decide to save it for later use, it will be saved in the PayFabric cloud. So this way, you will have access to it in Business Central. And if I select this to make a payment, it will essentially update Business Central automatically in the backend. So this is how a customer can make a payment using PayLink. Now, other option is customer can always go in here. They can log in to their portal and they can view their invoices. Now, this portal is completely rebrandable. It will not say PayFabric anywhere. It will have your company logo. You can have your own colors. You can do as much design work as you want. So please ignore the look and feel UI. This is how it comes standard out of the box. Majority of our customers use it just like this. They just change the logo on the top. But the idea is that it is flexible. It can mesh with your design and themes. Here, when I logged in, all of these invoices are coming directly from Business Central. I can see the details of this invoice. I can download a copy of this invoice if I want. All of this data is coming from Business Central. And again, this is very customizable as well. Like you can design how your invoices should look like, what data it should display. The way it works is that once you have an invoice posted in Business Central, immediately that or Great Plains, immediately that invoice gets integrated to this portal, and at the same time, PayFabric sends a notification to the customer notifying them about that invoice. Customer can now log in to make a payment. They can do a payment by quick pay link as well, the one I showed you earlier, if they don't want to log in. And then once a payment is processed, it will update that payment back into your accounting system immediately. So let's say if this is the payment 478, I'm going to select this payment. I can select multiple invoices to pay if I want to. I can short pay an invoice. Again, this is an option. If you don't want to allow this, you don't have to. I'll make a payment, and I'm using the same customer, so that's why the customer is the same credit card. As the customer, I can add a new credit card here, or I can go to my wallet and add a new credit card. Again, all of this will be stored in PayFabric, and it will be available in Business Central for you. I can choose by credit card, or I can pay by check. So I have one check to pay by, or 2 credit cards. So I'll just use this credit card for now. For further enhanced security, I can choose, I can enforce my users to add CVV2 code. This is my demo environment. I have it disabled here. So here I'm going to go ahead and make a payment. And now the payment is processed, and it will tell me right away if the payment is declined or not. So a couple of important things to note here is, number one is that imagine how much time you save if your customers will be notified right away if the credit card went through or not. So if this credit card was declined, as a customer or I will be prompted to enter a new credit card number. I can enter the credit card number and I can reprocess the payment. So this way you don't have to chase declined credit cards. Secondly, if I also now a copy of this receipt has automatically sent, I can always come back to history and I can look at it over here. I'll show you history in a second. But in an email, I already received this. But most important thing, what has happened is PayFabric has processed this payment in real time and has submitted this payment to Business Central. This payment ID is a cash receipt entry that was applied to this invoice for this amount. So let's look at that. So if I go back over here, and if I go to cash receipt journal, I will see at the very bottom right here, today I processed this payment, payment number 718. Let's see if this was payment number 718. It was applied to invoice number 4019. It was applied to invoice number 4019 for $478. So as you can imagine, everything is mapped out. Like throughout the day, as your customers are making payments, even if they're doing automatic payments, whenever PayFabric process payments, it updates your Great Plains and your Business Central instantly. And if you, so this way you are not trying to figure out, you're not manually processing payment, you're not trying to figure out which payment, which invoices this belong to. All of that is automated. Now, if you think about that AR circle that we talked about, from the time when you create the invoice, immediately PayFabric delivers that invoice. PayFabric will constantly send them reminders based on aging buckets. You can have different messages go out like 30 days later, a different message go out 60 days later, another message go out 90. Like each message, so however you want to set your reminders out, the reminders go out. So you don't have to do that. When the customer makes a payment, automatically payment gets processed and gets updated back into your system. So this is what like pure definition of AR automation. Now if I come back, see that invoice has disappeared because these are all my outstanding invoices. Now I don't have that invoice outstanding anymore. As a customer, I can sign up for automatic payments. There are many, many different ways to do it. It's up to you what is applicable to your business. In my demo environment, I have monthly auto pay, monthly subscription, sample auto pay. Like this one will just process $100 every month. This one will process every first of the month, it will process the entire outstanding balance. So all I have to do is if I select this, if you allow your customers for automatic payments, then essentially your customers, all their invoices will be paid automatically on that, based on this auto pay contract. You can take deposits from your customers. History. So talk about customer convenience. This is the part where we get most praises on. Like our customers love this because this can take so much of your customer service burden, headache away from you. You can allow a area where your customers can go online and see all their history. And again, this is not just payments that were processed on PayFabric. This is everything that's in Business Central under my customer ID. I can filter this data. I can drill it by invoices only, by payments, by returns, debit, credits, specific days, date range, even amount. So let's say if I want to, as a customer, I want to say that, hey, how many payments have I made to you in last 6 months that were more than $1,000? I can easily come over here, do that, filter my data on my own. I can drill down on all of this data to see this is the invoice that you guys sent me. I made a payment on this date. So I can see all this data, like when was the payment made, when was the invoice created and all that. So this is the area that I say our customers love the most. Then obviously I can manage my wallet and everything. Now there is one more side of this PayFabric. I will very briefly, quickly talk about it, which is the administrative side. This is your customer side. So I showed you how you can access PayFabric using as a Business Central user or as a GP user. I showed you how your customers can log in as a customer person, as your customer. And then the last thing I want to very quickly show you is how your customer service reps, your internal teams can log in. This is an administrative site, so you can have admin login, many, many different type of logins. So let me select the right company. I'm using BC demo right now. So this is, again, I can do all my technical settings, but you can restrict this area and you can have your customer service reps just come on this side. This is our dashboard where the customers can see us, where you can see, not customers, sorry, where you can see a snippet of your entire, your outstanding invoices, your balances, like what does it look like compared to previous months and whatnot. I can basically, anything that a customer can do, I can do behalf of customer. So I can essentially pay invoices on behalf of a customer. I can sign them up for automatic payment. I can send them a request for them to sign up automatic payments themselves. I can collect, I can send them requests to send deposits or prepayments. So let's say I'm on the phone with someone. Obviously, you can do this inside of Business Central or Great Plains too. But if you want, you can come here and you can essentially see those same invoices here and make a payment on behalf of a customer. Then you can do some collections over here too. I mentioned this, that the system has automatic reminders that go out. But if you want to yourself do some collection, this is all the invoices that are outstanding in Business Central or Great Plains. I can filter these invoices by any type of data like keywords, customer ID, customer name, type of invoices, status, invoice date, range, due dates, balance, email, like so many different fields I can use to filter my data. And once the data is filtered, I can basically just check mark and I can either make a payment on behalf of them or send them an email reminder. And these are just some templates we made. You don't have to name it this way, but you can name it however you want. And you can send these reminders out or collection letters out to collect payment from your customers. Each one of these reminders will have a link embedded in there for them to make a payment. Okay, so with that, I hope this was helpful. So here are some of the key features that I showed you. Again, I showed you from a tip of the iceberg. Please connect with your representative at implementation specialist, and they will be more than happy to connect you with us so we can tell you how you can use this in your environment. We can tailor fit this to meet your challenges, to address your challenges, and to enhance your collection process. But some of the key takeaways from today's presentation is we are giving you an ability to, one, give your customers, take charge of your payment portal, self-service customer portal, but also your ERP be connected to your payments. We're bridging the gap between your payments and your ERP. So as your Business Central and a GP user, you can essentially take charge of your payments and have all your payments be connected. We talked about wallet management. You can allow your customers to save payment information on file so you can do things like automatic payments and subscriptions and things like that. Payment security is so important, so important. We talked about payment security. We talked about lower your payment processing fees, right? Like we cut all these middlemen out. You don't have to work with third-party vendors. Global Payments is the only payment processor that offers this benefit to Microsoft Dynamics users. Take advantage of that. And on top of that, if you still want to put a surcharge on your credit cards, do that. So this way your credit card could be like pretty much covered. Like don't pay for any credit card fees, right? Like you can cover like bulk of your fees using surcharge program. These are the things that differentiates us from other payment providers in the business. We are the only ones who are, like I said, there are only a handful of processors in America. We are one of them, and we're the only processor that has this solution in the Microsoft ecosystem. We are, because of the level 2, level 3, and everything I showed you, we're committed to business payments. We work very closely with ERP solutions, and we work very closely with ERP partners such as implementation specialists. For us, because we are a global company, PCI compliance is very important. And because we're global payments, we have a massive reach across the planet. However, we still give you a small business feel where we give you a white glove delivery. You have our reps directly accessible, and you can connect with implementation specialists and they know exactly how to get a hold of us. So we are a massive company, but we give a service just like a small business. We're all available on cell phones. We all work from our offices. I'm sitting in the Anaheim office, where majority of our PayFabric support and implementations teams sit here as well. Thank you, and would love to speak with you more, and please connect with us and with your representative over at implementation specialist.